Hey guys, might be rolling here. Had another good question. A guy was asking, are the parts still readily available for the older 3406Es? The answer is absolutely yes. The 3406E, the N14 Select Plus, and the Detroit 12.7 liter Series 60 engine are so popular, and there's so many of them out there. The parts will be available for those engines for years and years to come. New parts. You can still get OEM parts, let alone aftermarket parts. There's an unlimited number of aftermarket parts for that. The one thing I do know that was discontinued, because I just went through this a couple of years ago, the Cummins is no longer making the ECMs for their N14 Select Plus, which is no problem. There's aftermarket people that I wound up. There's a guy up in was it South Bend? I think it was up around South Bend that's what he does. He builds ECMs for the N14 Select Plus only, not Detroit's, not Cat's. He's a Cummins guy, and the program that he's got in that ECM, the one I put in the Beast, when my ECM went out, I actually ordered one through a guy that I normally use in Indianapolis, and come to find out it was some remanned ECM out of Mexico. They shipped it to me. Thing was junk. Truck wouldn't even run. So I sent it back to them. They gave me another one off the shelf, put that in the truck, and the truck ran, but it didn't run right. It was junk. So I took the second one back to him and said, just give me my money back. I found a guy that builds them from scratch, and I'm going to go use him. So I got a refund from this guy and went up there and bought the same ECM, $300 cheaper. I'm sorry, it was $900 cheaper, and put that ECM on my truck, and man, it is the cat's me out. It is an excellent program. The power's there, the torque's there. Everything about that program is perfect, and it was $900 cheaper. So even if they do discontinue certain parts, there will be many people out there that still build the aftermarket parts for them. But like I said, the N14 Select Plus, the 12.7 Series 60, and the 3406E is, I wouldn't hesitate. The parts will be available, and the mechanics are readily available. Every shop, when you go through these smaller towns on your little 2-lane highways and whatnot, and you see, Joe Bob's diesel truck shop, whatever, you look on those signs, and the first thing you see is the Cummins marquee, the Detroit marquee, but you don't often see the Cat marquee. The Cat is a little bit more of a specialty. It's, I don't know, there's some kind of thing about it being a cat guy, which doesn't make much sense. Caterpillars are engines just like anything else, but they've got some kind of, I don't know, special training they go through or something. But my shop builds cats all the time, 3406Es, C15s, builds them all, and gives you warranty with them. Same as Cat does, because he's buying OEM parts and he knows how to overhaul an engine. But he's not a cat guy. He's just an all-around diesel mechanic. But as far as availability of parts, cheapness of parts, and availability of mechanics, the Cummins N14 Select Plus and the 12.7 Detroit Series 60 are going to be your top two engines that you can find a mechanic for those things anywhere, just about anywhere. Now, though, the cost is one of the determining factors. The 3406E Cat, everything about that engine is going to be about 30% more. To buy the engine, 30% more. The parts for that engine, about 30% more. It's just Caterpillar, that yellow paint, man. I don't know if they got gold flake in it or what, but it just makes it more expensive because it's a Caterpillar. But I love Cats, don't get me wrong. I've had Caterpillars, and they're great engines, love them. They can be a booger to start in super cold temperatures from time to time, but as a general rule, they're great engines. I've had Detroit 12.7 Series 60s before. Excellent engines. I have not a single bad thing to say about the 12.7 Series 60 Detroit, other than the torque comes on a little slow. For what I do, hauling heavy on steel, I need massive torque on demand, and that's why I went with the Cummins N14 Select Plus. Is that thing is torque? It's a torque monster all day long from the bottom to the top, man. It is raw torque. Because it's not about horsepower. Any engine can make 500 horsepower, but can you make 2,150 foot-pounds of torque? It's about the torque, not the horsepower. Or it's not just about the horsepower. You got to have the torque with it. And that's why I chose the Cummins, because they mastered torque years ago. In fact, if you watch a guy running an old Cummins, like the old big cam 400 Cummins, you'll see him in like an old cab over 9370 International. They got the big cam 400 Cummins. When they hit the gas, if they don't hit the gas just right, you'll see that truck flexing in between gears. That's because it's got so much torque. He's almost lifted his steer tires in between gears, because that engine will, it's right now torque, and you can't just fly through the gears and floor it. You got to shift it and ease into that power, or you'll start flexing the whole truck. It's amazing to watch, but that's Cummins is, if you want torque for big pulls, Cummins is where it's at. As far as longevity and reliability, they're all three about the same. They're 1,000,000 mile plus. I mean, hell, I know personally of a guy that's got 1.6 million miles on a 3406E Cat, and that truck still runs great today. He has not overhauled that engine in 1.6 million miles, and he overhauled it once, and he's still running on the second round of that engine for 1.6 million miles. They're great engines. As long as you don't crack the block, you can rebuild them forevermore. But that's the number one reason to go with those older engines, is absolutely reliable, cheaper parts, and your maintenance costs are much, much, much lower, because they just don't shut down. They run. They will literally run until they break, and then they keep running until they nuke. So the key is understand your truck. When it breaks and something goes wrong, limp it to the shop. It'll keep running. But if you try to keep running it, that engine will run till it eats itself alive. That's the good thing about them, is they will keep running unless the oil pressure drops off, oil runs out, water runs out. That it'll shut it off then. But yeah, they're great engines, man. I can't say enough good things about them. But I wouldn't be afraid to buy one and run it cross country. Parts are there. Everywhere you go, the parts are there. So yeah, hope that answers your question. It's my second video today. I got things to do. I got to get rolling, man. I got to go build a lean-to for my shed. Got to keep my firewood dry. But y'all be good out there and keep the greasy side down, folks. Keep the questions coming. Like and subscribe and share. You know the deal. Catch y'all later.